Good night, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to the live broadcast. Tonight is literally, I think, it's just a response to the opposition, because Penelope Beckles and the PNM, again, as I say on every show, so I feel like I'm like repeating myself over and over and over again. But it seems like Penelope Beckles and the PNM just think that they are the ones in charge and they are literally the UNC back in 2015 to 2025. Because everything that PNM arguing about has been what they would, not what they were doing, but they have done worse to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, honestly. The past few budgets under Colin Burt has been tighten your belt budgets, and the budget now under the United National Congress is a loosen your belt type of budget. But apparently the People's National Movement really doesn't know what a loosen your belt budget is. So we'll get to some of that tonight. So good night to everyone joining. Once again, we are streaming live across YouTube. So for those of you that want to join the program, maybe seeing it in the repeat, we go live from 8 to 9 p.m. on YouTube on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. All right, soon to come other days as we move forward. But the opposition gave her response to Budget 2025-2026 in Parliament yesterday. And it started very early and it ended almost abruptly, just about 11 or 12 midnight last night. And in the entire budget statement for the opposition response to the budget, it was nothing but what they deemed the budget to be fake and fraudulent. And I think the opposition meant those words for herself, because the PNM response to the budget is very much fake and fraudulent. Because I cannot remember a time where under the People's National Movement, the price of gasoline, even in regards with super gasoline, dropped by $1. Everything over the past few years when PNM was in charge has always increased. And Trinidad and Tobago became very much used to prices going up and never coming down. And under the United National Congress in this period, this time now, 2025-2026, we saw where the price of super gasoline would have dropped by $1. And the PNM, they really not happy about that. Really, really not. So let's take a look at the opposition leader, Penelope Beckles' response to Budget 2025-2026. And then maybe I really want you to draw your own conclusions for yourself. Because if you're running around the country and listening to social media and on TikTok and hearing persons talk about the budget and talk about Kamala Prasad-Bissess and the UNC and how it's not a fair budget and it's fake and it's fraudulent, then you really don't understand Budget 2025-2026. Because if PNM was in charge, property tax would have been something that was implemented or would have been implemented in this budgetary period going into 2026. Not only that, but you would have had to pay more at the pumps. Subsidies were going to be removed because they spoke about Caribbean Airlines, they spoke about the traveling, they spoke about the subsidies at the gas pumps, and they always said to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that the government cannot afford such. Keith Christopher Rowley came time and time again and told you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that you need to wean yourself off of the government. And while telling you that you need to wean yourself off of the government, they were the ones that implemented so much of measures that kept you weaned on to the government. Let's take a look at Rhoda Barrett. We saw Rhoda Barrett getting $3.3 million from the state taxpaying dollars to spew racism and propaganda. So much so that even Rudal Munilal had to sue Rhoda Barrett and won his lawsuit against Rhoda Barrett. And I want to thank Saddam Hussein for saying, hey, at least Munilal, now you know Rhoda Barrett have the money to pay you exactly what she owes you. But the PNM, I hear Nyan Gasby Dolly talk, and she was the Minister of Education, former Minister of Education, as though Trinidad and Tobago's educational sector is in like glee. But I am not even surprised. I'm also concerned that the media even have time to perpetuate this type of nonsense from the opposition, have time to listen to it, because I didn't take time to listen to the debate because it was nonsensical. It was fake. It was fraudulent. It was hypocritical. It was nonsensical. It is vacuous That is the entire debate presented by the opposition. There were no substance in her contribution. And rightfully, the opposition rarely brings any sort of substance to anything she touches. Do you believe me? Take a listen.
The opposition leader commenced a contribution with a grim warning to the population.
These policies of the UNC government are an economic crisis in the making, the likes of which we have not seen in the last 40 years.
Penelope Beckles went as far as to say it's the single biggest con job in the country's history.
This budget is one of deception, treachery, and betrayal.
And one of those acts of betrayal the opposition leader claimed was the raising of the alcohol prices.
No government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago has imposed this level of punishment on ordinary people, whose only relaxation is often the occasional drink on a Friday night after a hard week's work, or a river line, or at the beach.
Beckles said the UNC is not only killing the industry with this move, but also the vibe in the upcoming festive season.
We'll probably, in many communities, see bars closing down. This country, as persons now curtail their consumption, the UNC, the Grinch that killed Christmas, limes and a killer of carnival.
The opposition leader accused the finance minister of overstating projected revenue while understating anticipated debt. She believes in trying to fulfill their campaign promises. The UNC wants to crash the economy to devalue the TT dollar.
We specifically warn the country that the only way they can do this would be if they devalue the dollar, almost 10 to 1. Mr. Speaker, watch them carefully because this is where they are taking us. And remember, we warned you and we are warning you again. If they continue down this road, we will face a full-blown foreign exchange crisis.
The opposition leader said she heard nothing from Devindranath Thakur on stimulating the energy sector, tourism, the creative industries, and she said the government is bereft of ideas to tackle crime.
All they can offer us is plastic bags of hot air.
Citing all the job losses since April 28th, the opposition leader asked the public if they are all winning.
They say they love you, yet they pound you down with a hammer of vengeance. And it is clear that the UNC does not care about the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
And the PNM leader took a swipe at trade unions, who she said have remained mum on the firings and now the adjustments to the retirement age and NIS contributions. The opposition leader said a budget should be about building a nation, not breaking it.
So, y'all listen to that. Y'all heard that. Y'all heard the opposition response to Budget 2025-2026. Now, it's as though it is really the People's National Movement in charge. It's as though that's what's happening. It is as though it is a Keith Rowley column Imbert type budget, because it's not. The opposition accused the government of wanting to go to the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, and then subsequently after accused the government of wanting to go to the IMF and devaluate Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Now, as though that is not bogus, hypocritical, and far-fetched for the government, for the opposition to go to, and simply because the opposition has nothing to say. That's why it's so far-fetched and so untrue, and it's the most unpopular opinion that the opposition can even come to, right? The fact that she said that Kamla Persad-Bissessa's policy is to devaluate the dollar. It is the same narrative just before the election. They ran that narrative saying that Kamla Persad-Bissessa wants to devaluate Trinidad and Tobago's currency, and all kind of charades is what they would have brought up. And it's the same narrative today. It's the same thing that Keith Rowley came with, Stuart Chung came with, and now opposition leader Penelope Beckles coming with. But here's the thing. I want to tell the opposition firstly to choose one. Which one is it? Is it that Kamla Persad-Bissessa wants to raid the Heritage and Stabilization Fund that Basio Pandey created, and the only prime minister to really put anything into the fund was the late Patrick Manning, and then Colin Imbert for like 2 periods or so, I think 2023 or so, or 2024, around there, you would have put something in the fund and then take it out subsequently after. But the only leader to actually put something in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund was Kamla Persad-Bissessa. These are the facts that they don't want to tell you. And they don't want to say it because it fits their narrative. It fits the PNM's narrative. It is absolutely crazy to know that we still have to come on social media to defend or to actually talk about the nonsense that is spewed from the opposition side of the bench. Because it is ill-founded. It's 100% ill-founded. The opposition had no substance of a debate, so therefore they found the easiest thing they could talk about. She had a few days to prepare for the budget response, and this is her response to the budget. Not that anything is good for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, it's that everything is bad. It is bad that they dropped the cost of at the pumps. It is bad that they projected revenue at $73 or $75 per barrel for gas, oil and gas. It is bad that this happened. It's bad that that's happening. Bad that the other happening. That's all that they could say. And you would like to think that this was Kamala Persad-Bissessa's stance back then, but it was not enough. Kamala Persad-Bissessa's stance when she was in opposition wasn't that everything Rowley and them doing was bad for the economy and bad for Trinidad and Tobago. She was specific. She was speaking specifically to the raising of gas at the pumps. She spoke about that. She spoke about taxing the nation into prosperity. I seen Yan Gasbidoli or whoever on social media talking about and shared a reference of Kamala taxing Trinidad and Tobago to prosperity. When in reality, Trinidad and Tobago, there are no new taxes on the people's heads right now. Rum got an increase in taxation. Alcohol. Outside of that, the landlord surcharges for persons that are not paying their fair share to Trinidad and Tobago. If these are the measures that the PNM is talking about, it is their very words that Kamala Persad-Bissessa today only following what the PNM would have first introduced to Trinidad and Tobago, and this was their plan. So if this was the PNM's plan, then what are they worried about? What are they complaining about? There's nothing to complain about. The landlord surcharges, the tax on alcohol. What else is there, Trinidad and Tobago? VAT was removed from basic food items. Yes, it might not be everyday items that you use, but this is a sweet budget. And just imagine where Trinidad and Tobago could be and where the budget could be in 2026, 2027. This is the government's first budget. And they were the ones, the opposition was the one that was saying that this budget going to be a bad budget, billions of dollars in debt. But it is not. They said $15 billion deficit. But it's not. It's $3 billion deficit, just over $3 billion deficit. What are they complaining about? When they go to the pumps, they're going to be paying less money for gas, $1 less for gas, saving them $50 a month. They're going to be benefiting. When they go to buy stuff at the grocery store, whether more be salt, whether you want to say, oh, it's not essential items, it's not items we use on a daily basis, where have you ever heard in Trinidad and Tobago's history that prices go down? When? When did super gasoline ever take a dip? When? Because we are finally moving forward in Trinidad and Tobago and the price of gas at the pumps decreased.
Honorable members,
the PNM,
I have an announcement to make.
the PNM is upset. Imagine that. The PNM is upset because gasoline going down and because the people can finally afford gas. They say, oh, they're giving at one hand and they're taking back at the other. But when you look back at previous budgets, Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM gave you an increase in your pay. $21 for the new minimum wage. But then they take back 15 times more from the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Flour increase under them. Gas price increase under them. Everything increase under the People's National Movement. But then all they're complaining about UNC and they're giving in one hand and taking back at the other. At least they're taking back 3 out of the $5. PNM, if they give you $5, they're taking $15 from you. That's the reality of the day with the People's National Movement. But stay tuned. We have more to talk about. Don't go anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago. Because when we come back, you see the issue with Venezuela as well, and the issue that the PNM is perpetuating with Trinidad, Venezuela, and the United States, and trying to blame Kamala Persad-Bissessar and say that this administration are doing what it's supposed to do because of the fishermen that allegedly died out at sea. We're coming to that. Stay tuned.
What if we told you that one course could boost your child's performance in every SCA paper? That's why Learn Smart TT has created an online comprehension and poetry course. This is completely self-paced with all tools accessed online. It's 30 passages, 30 poems. They can be downloaded or answered on our site. From there, students get access to answer sheets that have detailed options of how the answers could have been written. No other product on the market has this. In addition, they get access to a video tutorial with an expert teacher walking them through the passage or poems using high visuals and techniques to ensure they derive meaning. Also, we model how we derived each answer so they can do the same. If you want your child to enjoy all of these benefits and propel in comprehension, SCA, and general academic life, click the link above and register for this course and join hundreds of parents and students who are benefiting.
Welcome to SNS Facade Group of Companies, a dynamic community-driven group serving multiple industries with excellence and integrity. At SNS Facade Supermarket, we're committed to community, providing vessel export delivery, custom food services, local delivery, wholesale solutions, fresh produce, in-house bakery, and premium meats. Discover relaxation reimagined at Sunset Beach Resort, with beachfront stays and dining that blends local flavor with ocean views, perfect for families and couples. At Cuts and Curve Fitness Center, where health meets lifestyle, with personal training, meal plans, a full gym, and on-site cafe. The SNS Facade Group of Companies, building value, trust, and community across everything we do.
Whether your child is topping the class or just keeping up, stronger comprehension skills gives them the edge. That's why Learn Smart TT has created an online comprehension and poetry course. This is completely self-paced with all tools accessed online. It's 30 passages, 30 poems. They can be downloaded or answered on our site. From there, students get access to answer sheets that have detailed options of how the answers could have been written. No other product on the market has this. In addition, they get access to a video tutorial with an expert teacher walking them through the passage or poems using high visuals and techniques to ensure they derive meaning. Also, we model how we derived each answer so they can do the same. If you want your child to enjoy all of these benefits and propel in comprehension, SCA, and general academic life, click the link above and register for this course and join hundreds of parents and students who are benefiting.
So imagine the former Minister of Education, Nian Gasby-Dolly, have the world to say about education. Just imagine that, right? Imagine the hypocrisy in Nian Gasby-Dolly's statement to government that they're not spending time because they didn't talk a lot about education. They lied and they hoodwinked the population into believing that the United National Congress not doing anything in regards to education. But I recall a school, right? I recall a school, run the visuals. I recall this school here at Trinidad and Tobago. This is the St. Joseph Secondary School. Stark Grimes went to this school. I went to this school. Several other persons went to this very school. Look at it. This is the state of the St. Joseph Secondary School under the People's National Movement. So when I hear Nian Gatsby Dolly, former Minister of Education, speaking about how the government hoodwinked the population about education and their promises for young persons, I want to ask Nian Gatsby Dolly if she have a brain and if she could see. Because it is you dotish clown, that didn't do anything about education in Trinidad and Tobago. It is you and your administration, you dotish clown, that took out laptops from school. And then during COVID, you had to finally find a way to bring laptops in school. It is you dotish clown, that removed the smart boards from schools. It is your administration that stopped the Go Green and the bins that they put there in schools to facilitate recycling. It is you that took the very fundamentals of education and trashed it. It is you that left all of these schools, all of these, abandoned, that Kamala Prasad Bissessa put up. It is you, Nian Gatsby Dolly. It is under the People's National Movement. Go ahead, skip forward, you'll see. Look at the rubble, Trinidad and Tobago. This is under the People's National Movement, under the very Nian Gatsby Dolly that want to talk today about education. And just in case you forget, this is the St. Joseph Secondary School which Kamala Prasad Bissessa, come back, which Kamala Prasad Bissessa will complete. Will complete. Just as, go down to the bottom, just as she's completing the Lower Mova Government School that you left abandoned. And the structure is put up today, people. There's actually bricks. This is an old video, and this is as old as only a few weeks. A few weeks ago, I took this video. And if I take a new video for you, Trinidad and Tobago, you will see where it actually have a structure. It have bricks. If you see how the school looking now, where people could pass in the area and actually say, hey, we're getting something from the government. And that, it is not that as soon as an administration come into power that the project is halted. Because that project is not halted. It is not. And you see the St. Joseph Secondary School, Kamala Prasad Bissessa will complete it. She will. She will get it completed. But I want you to listen to Nian Gatsby Dolly talk about a fake and fraudulent government, and she talk about education. Listen to Nian.
Former Education Minister Dr. Nian Gatsby Dolly says education and youth development were treated as an afterthought in the 2026 national budget. She believes the government has reversed gains made over the last decade, adding the finance minister devoted very little time to education in his budget presentation. She also claims key support programs were cut, including help for students from low-income families. She says this shows the government does not prioritize education.
Another critical weakness of the budget was the minimal focus on a critical sector such as education. Education and youth were almost left out of the budget contribution. The focus was minuscule, almost like an afterthought. 1,800 words devoted to education and youth out of 20,000 words delivered over 3 hours. That's less than 9%. Yet the UNC would have us believe, and would have the country believe, that youth and education are frontline priorities.
So according to Nian Gatsby Dolly, the amount of words you use in Parliament is determined how much you care about Trinidad and Tobago. that make real sense. That make real sense. As far as I know, members of parliament are given an allocated amount of time to talk. So apparently the entirety of government's contribution should have just been about education. It should have just been that. Because the imbeciles on that side of the house, Nian Gasby-Dolly, she refused to take a look around the country and a look into the UNC's manifesto and a look into what the government is actually doing and say that, yeah, they actually care about education. In this administration's first term, Trinidad and Tobago, first term, laptops will once again be distributed, and 18,000 of it to citizens in Form 1 and tablets as well for persons in primary school. No credit for that. In Kamala Persad-Bissessa's first initial statement to Trinidad and Tobago, the honorable leader of government, Kamala Persad-Bissessa, said to this nation and said to the University of the West Indies that if you don't open the Debe Penal campus or the Penal Debe campus, we will take it back from you because you've been sitting on that for far too long, and the purpose of the campus must be what it's being opened for. Kamala Persad-Bissessa. Kamala Persad-Bissessa, in her first term as well, and first few months as well, said that the Couva multi-trading facility will go back to the original name of the Couva Children's Hospital and will fully be operational. Not only the Couva Hospital, Point Fortin, Arima, and all hospitals across Trinidad and Tobago. The project of Block B of the Port of Spain Hospital will be opened by next year. Kamala Persad-Bissessa, listener Nian Gasby-Dolly, also stated that airport in Tobago that you just commissioned and partially opened will be fully operational by next year, April 2026. A full opening for the people of Tobago. But you telling me Kamala don't care? Schools across 180-something schools across Trinidad, it could be 78 or 87. But over 100 schools were being refurbished for this school term. Nian Gasby-Dolly, no credit by the government at all. Projects that were halted both in housing and in education being continued by the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and that is by the United National Congress Administration. So you can miss me, come back, you can miss me, Nian, with every single thing that you said. Because the only political party trying to hoodwink this nation into believing some narrative that they care about the people is the People's National Movement. And all the PNM have to show for their whole track record is Nazem Bach vindicated in court. ANV drilling, don't forget that. Don't forget ANV drilling. Friends and families of the People's National Movement and of certain Senate presidents inside of the parliament. Friends and families, maybe their husbands or their wives, given contracts, I guess, or given state positions, I guess, or given something by the state. Wrote about $3.3 million of your taxpaying dollars to come online and spew hate, racism, propaganda, and all sorts of other defamatory statements on social media. What else? What else we need to go through? What else we need to go over from the People's National Movement, Trinidad and Tobago? But they would like to, you see, what they're peddling now. They're peddling the narrative with the United States and Venezuela and say that Kamala Persad-Bissessa is the administration that will send Trinidad and Tobago to the dogs because they want, the PNM, they are hoodwinking you, Trinidad and Tobago. They're lying to you. They're not preparing for anything. You know, the opposition you have today is a fake and fraudulent opposition. You don't believe me? Well, stay tuned. When we come back, I'll show you some more.
Welcome to SNS Facade Group of Companies, a dynamic community-driven group serving multiple industries with excellence and integrity. At SNS Facade Supermarket, we're committed to community, providing vessel export delivery, custom food services, local delivery, wholesale solutions, fresh produce, in-house bakery, and premium meats. Discover relaxation reimagined at Sunset Beach Resort, with beachfront stays and dining that blends local flavor with ocean views, perfect for families and couples. At Cuts and Curve Fitness Center, where health meets lifestyle, with personal training, meal plans, a full gym, and on-site cafe. The SNS Facade Group of Companies, building value, trust, and community across everything we do.
What if we told you that one course could boost your child's performance in every SCA paper? That's why Learn Smart TT has created an online comprehension and poetry course. This is completely self-paced with all tools accessed online. It's 30 passages, 30 poems. They can be downloaded or answered on our site. From there, students get access to answer sheets that have detailed options of how the answers could have been written. No other product on the market has this. In addition, they get access to a video tutorial with an expert teacher walking them through the passage or poems using high visuals and techniques to ensure they derive meaning. Also, we model how we derived each answer so they can do the same. If you want your child to enjoy all of these benefits and propel in comprehension, SCA, and general academic life, click the link above and register for this course and join hundreds of parents and students who are benefiting.
When you know Trinidad and Tobago, the only talking point by the People's National Movement is going to be crime, you already start to formulate why it's going to be crime. And it's going to be crime simply because the UNC campaigned on that. But you know what they won't tell you, the opposition won't tell you, is that crime is down. And while crime might be down a bit because of a state of emergency, they won't actually give the government credit, because during their state of emergency, crime was still out of control. But it means that something somewhere is being done differently, all right? Something somewhere is being done differently, and we must admit that. While crime is not where the government would like to see it at just yet, definitely things are happening behind the scenes. A lot of let me not say that. A lot of police killings are happening. I was about to say extrajudicial, but I can't say that because there's no proof for extrajudicial killings. But there's a lot of police killings happening. And I'm not hearing from the Police Complaints Authority just yet. I would wait and see. But I also heard the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, a corporal from the police service, speak about the children's unit, the child protection unit. for children in Maloney. A child was shot and killed in Maloney. And these things cannot happen, either which administration in power, whether UNC or PNM. Whenever a child is at the behest of crime and criminality, we need to ask ourselves what is taking place in Trinidad and Tobago. But the PNM talking point is not just crime locally, but internationally. When it comes to the situation between Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, and the United States, they said Trinidad and Tobago must be a zone of peace. That's what they say. But has it ever been? Or the Caribbean must be a zone of peace. But has it ever been a zone of peace? But anyway, I digress. The People's National Movement will find a way to use anything and everything against the government. But I agree with something that Donald Trump said. But before I get to Donald Trump, take a look from today.
U.S. advisory urging its citizens in Trinidad and Tobago to avoid the embassy over the holiday weekend has sparked public concern. While government has not issued a statement to its own citizens, national security says it is on heightened alert, but there is no immediate threat to locals. But as Carissa Lee reports, the opposition is demanding that the Prime Minister speak directly to the nation on the matter.
National security officials confirm that they are on heightened alert, but say there is no current threat to citizens. Homeland Security Minister Roger Alexander says the U.S. advisory is for their citizens.
After communication with the Homeland Security Ministry, the United States government would have received threats to their citizens and infrastructure.
The minister tells CNC3 News he firmly believes the threats to U.S. citizens are coming from Venezuela. He adds that he has already coordinated with the Defense Ministry and the Attorney General to put measures in place to assist and identify the target. Meanwhile, Acting Police Commissioner Junior Benjamin agrees with the minister that there is no need to panic as the police service is putting things in place as the intelligence comes in. He says all tactical teams and specialist units, as well as municipal police, are on high alert to assist in security efforts. However, no officers have been called off their leave.
We are going to be looking into all these intelligence to ensure the veracity of that information. We already have our officers outside here working on those things to ensure safety.
The acting commissioner says there is no need for a local advisory at this time. Both he and the minister dismissed social media rumors that U.S. officials, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar and Attorney General John Jeremy were in safe houses. Benjamin says if the warning changes, citizens will be informed.
All their homes are safe. I identified the fact. I don't know any safe house they might be in as a result of. At this time, we have no reasons to do that just yet unless we receive additional information with respect to the threat.
When contacted for comment, Persad-Bissessar redirected the media's questions to the United States. While not commenting directly on the U.S. alert, Finance Minister Devindranath Tanku attributed the panic to opposition bloggers. But the opposition says the government response was not enough. Political leader Penelope Beckers called on the Prime Minister to address the nation. And today at Balize House, the PNM's deputy political leader, Com Imbert, said he has been inundated with messages from concerned constituents and relatives.
You're not hearing a word from the government, so I urge the media, please try your best to get the government to tell us what is going on, if anything.
Meanwhile, the former National Security Minister Marvin Gonzalez raised the police commissioner's travel out of the country at this time and said he was rejected from raising the issue in Parliament. Carissa Lee, CNC3 News.
Meanwhile, Trinidad and Tobago stands alone in the region after opting not to reaffirm the Caribbean as a zone of peace. CARICOM leaders met on Thursday to discuss growing regional tensions. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar attended virtually, saying she reaffirmed her commitment to building a safer, stronger and more productive Caribbean. But in CARICOM's official statement issued today, all member states except TNT, which reserved its position, agreed to maintain the Caribbean as a zone of peace and called for dialogue and diplomacy in resolving regional conflicts. Leaders also pledged to combat narco-trafficking, the illegal arms trade, and to uphold the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all member nations. Now, in response, former Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Amory Brown said the government's stance does not reflect the will of the people. He warned that warfare should never be encouraged, citing its heavy toll in civilian deaths, social instability, and economic uncertainty.
Now, I have no issue with Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the government not acknowledging or not seeing the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Because clearly, Trinidad and Tobago, something somewhere is being done correctly. And I would always reiterate and remind you that crime and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago is also at the behest of Venezuela and Venezuelans coming to our shores. And the gangs that come to Trinidad and Tobago infiltrate our island and engage in human trafficking to and from, well, from Trinidad to other Caribbean nations and mostly to the Western world. It is happening right here. And for a leader like Kamala Persad-Bissessar to finally want to do something about it, then I want to use the words that Donald Trump used. Take a listen.
That Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to f*** around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Now, maybe I should have played the unredacted version. But Donald Trump is right. The reason why they're going to threaten U.S. citizens and attacking Trinidad and Tobago the way that they're attacking Trinidad and Tobago is because a certain leader does not want to F around with the United States. Listen again.
It has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to f*** around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And this is the approach, Trinidad and Tobago, that all governments should have. When it comes to crime and criminality and anything illicit coming to their nation, whether or not Donald Trump won Venezuela because of the oil and gas, whatever. But the reality on the other end is that drugs, ammunition, all sorts of illicit items come flying into the United States and come flying into Trinidad and Tobago, so much so that young persons are at the behest of it. Where young people getting guns and ammunitions from? Are they getting it from Colombia? Is it coming from Barbados? Is it coming from Grenada? Is it coming from any of our Caribbean islands? The answer is no. It's not coming from Barbados, so me and Motley could miss me with a nonsense. It's not coming from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, so the boss-head prime minister could miss me with his nonsense. It's coming from Venezuela. Whether you want to believe that, you don't want to believe it, too bad for you. It is the truth. It's coming from Venezuela. Venezuela right off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. And for too long, Keith Christopher Rowley governed this country and started to dance with Nicolas Maduro. And because Kamala Persad-Bissessar is not dancing with Nicolas Maduro, they're upset. And because Kamala Persad-Bissessar is not recognizing the Caribbean as a zone of peace, because it has never been a zone of peace. It has been a zone of drugs and warfare. That is what the Caribbean was, a zone, and still is a zone of drugs and warfare that Keith Christopher Rowley himself, 2024, bring them down here. And they spoke about recognizing crime as a public health concern and asking the United States for their assistance. Well, because it was under Joe Biden, it was fine. Now it's under Donald Trump, it's not okay. This politics sign a plane. And they're playing politics with the lives of the people, not just here in Trinidad and Tobago, but across the world. Whether you like it or you don't like it, Trinidad and Tobago, the reality is somebody doing something about it. Whether you like the way they're doing it or you don't like the way they're doing it, they're actually doing something about it. I hear all sorts of people. Everybody turn political analysts and geopolitical analysts and talking about Trinidad and Tobago is on the wrong side of history and this, that, and the other. But who feels it, knows it for far too long. And you know I could bring, I'll do next show on Monday. Tune in on Monday, Trinidad and Tobago. That's all I'll tell you. Tune in on Monday. I will have a Venezuelan right here on the show on Monday. And that Venezuelan will tell you how she came to Trinidad and Tobago. And she came to Trinidad and Tobago via being shipped in at sea. And then she was pimped out. She was a prostitute on the streets here in Trinidad and Tobago, right there in San Juan, Lavantil. I have the clip. I have the Venezuelan, and I will show it to you on Monday. God spare life, because you never know what would happen. But on Monday, Trinidad and Tobago, tune into Week in Review, because I will bring it to you live and direct, and I will show you what Kamala Persad-Bissessar is fighting against. I'll show you what, and exactly what the opposition does not want. Because for some reason, like them want to run the WHORES inside their PNM center there in Port of Spain. Because that's what they built it for. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
What if we told you that one course could boost your child's performance in every SCA paper? That's why Learn Smart TT has created an online comprehension and poetry course. This is completely self-paced with all tools accessed online. It's 30 passages, 30 poems. They can be downloaded or answered on our site. From there, students get access to answer sheets that have detailed options of how the answers could have been written. No other product on the market has this. In addition, they get access to a video tutorial with an expert teacher walking them through the passage or poems using high visuals and techniques to ensure they derive meaning. Also, we model how we derived each answer so they can do the same. If you want your child to enjoy all of these benefits and propel in comprehension, SCA, and general academic life, click the link above and register for this course and join hundreds of parents and students who are benefiting.
Welcome to SNS Persad Group of Companies, a dynamic community-driven group serving multiple industries with excellence and integrity. At SNS Persad Supermarket, we're committed to community, providing vessel export delivery, custom food services, local delivery, wholesale solutions, fresh produce, in-house bakery, and premium meats. Discover relaxation reimagined at Sunset Beach Resort, with beachfront stays and dining that blends local flavor with ocean views, perfect for families and couples. At Cuts and Curve Fitness Center, where health meets lifestyle, with personal training, meal plans, a full gym, and on-site cafe. The SNS Persad Group of Companies, building value, trust, and community across everything we do.
Whether your child is topping the class or just keeping up, stronger comprehension skills gives them the edge. That's why Learn Smart TT has created an online comprehension and poetry course. This is completely self-paced with all tools accessed online. It's 30 passages, 30 poems. They can be downloaded or answered on our site. From there, students get access to answer sheets that have detailed options of how the answers could have been written. No other product on the market has this. In addition, they get access to a video tutorial with an expert teacher walking them through the passage or poems using high visuals and techniques to ensure they derive meaning. Also, we model how we derived each answer so they can do the same. If you want your child to enjoy all of these benefits and propel in comprehension, SCA, and general academic life, click the link above and register for this course and join hundreds of parents and students who are benefiting.
I know this a little bit late, and I must apologize to SNS Prasad Supermarket for this, but I do not have your address yet, and I do apologize. But Trinidad and Tobago, make your way down to SNS Prasad Supermarket, Rio Claro, Miaro, and Freeport for all of your Diwali needs. I mean, they've got deers, they've got everything for Diwali. I know it's real late, I apologize. But everything for Diwali is there at SNS Prasad Supermarket. And as you celebrate Diwali tomorrow, Shubh Diwali to all my brothers and sisters out here in Trinidad and Tobago that will be celebrating Diwali tomorrow. All right? And remember, for those of you that need to shop, always shop at SNS Prasad Supermarket for all of your household needs as well. I mean, they have a wide range of appliances, groceries, every and anything that you need is there at SNS Prasad Supermarket. And as we continue tonight, today, pictures, I think it's in. Today we were, just go ahead and quick play this. Yeah, today we were at the Personify.me. It was a business course for young entrepreneurs coming out here in Trinidad and Tobago to learn about their soft skills, their everyday skills to run any business out here in Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to thank Personify.me for inviting us to this. We were supposed to MC, but we ended up taking control of the event. Hey, we had fun on the stage. I think it was a really, really good event. As well. All right, so I attended that today. So yeah, congratulations. Pause that right there. Yeah, look at the team. Camille, Ronaldo, Randolph, everyone else. Oh, so I don't know all the names. I apologize. All right, come back. So you know, let me see what is there, because we still have a lot to go over. In fact, let me tell you this. So at the last show, Trinidad and Tobago, I would have brought to you and showed you the hypocrisy between the PNM today. The People's National Movement would have walked out of Parliament on the last occasion, right, just before the budget. On the last occasion, they would have walked out of the Parliament. And they walked out of the Parliament citing that the Speaker of the House was biased in some way to members of the opposition. And well, I would have brought a clip telling you that it is the same narrative that they walked with back then. Back then, the now president, what's the president name again? You forget the president. Oh, you could forget the president of Trinidad and Tobago name. Anyway, the president of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, what's the president name? Christine. She just like, I was thinking Paula Maweek, she just like Paula. But the president, Christine Kangaroo, since she liked to hop and drop everywhere, she would have kicked out Anil Roberts from Senate, and she sent him to the privilege committee based off Franklin Can, and Anil Roberts had to come and apologize just to come back in the Senate. Now the same thing happening to them in a different manner, by the way, because they're still able to talk, but they're saying that the speaker, Mr. Jagdio Singh, biased. Well, Barry Padarat brought a motion of privilege against the opposition leader. All right? Take a listen.
Honorable members, I have an announcement to make. On Monday, 13th October 2025, I received a matter of privilege from the member for Couva South in accordance with Standing Order 32-2. the member for Couva South sought leave to raise the following matter. During the sitting of the House of Representatives on Friday, 10th October 2025, members of the opposition bench staged a parliamentary walkout, which was followed by a subsequent statement on their actions by the leader of the opposition and member for Arima. The member for Couva South submitted that under the letterhead of the leader of the opposition on 10th October 2025, the following public statement was issued, and I quote, "After months of enduring bias and prejudicial behavior from the presiding officer of the lower house, all members of parliament on the opposition bench were left with no choice but to leave today's sitting. The pattern of unfair treatment and rulings has continued unchecked and unaddressed. It is now beyond question to unbiased observers that the current Speaker of the House has failed in his duty to act impartially and to uphold the Constitution and the standing orders of Parliament. Since assuming the chair, the Speaker has consistently rejected the majority of urgent questions and the Prime Minister's questions filed by the opposition. His refusal to maintain established precedent on supplemental questions is a direct challenge to accountability and transparency in the conduct of the people's business. Another constant feature of recent sittings has been the uneven and unbiased application of the standing orders. The Speaker routinely overlooks inappropriate behavior from members of the government, including disorderly conduct and offensive remarks, yet is quick to silence members on the opposition bench." End quote. The Member of Parliament for Couva South has raised the matter of privilege based on the submission that the member for Arima attempted to bring into disrepute the independent democratic work of the House of Representatives in the eyes of the public for political gain by questioning the independence of the presiding officer. The member for Couva South submitted that this was an act of, and I quote, "constructive contempt against the House of Representatives, breaching the privilege of the House as the member's actions seek to obstruct and tarnish the democratic as well as independent management, presiding and rulings of the presiding officer. Members, since receiving this on Monday the 13th, I have undertaken significant research and analysis. Members, today I am prepared to rule on this critical matter. Members, the House of Representatives and the Parliament as an institution represent the foundation of democracy. Democracy, whether what side of the aisles we stand, must always be preserved. Preserving democracy means protecting the independence of our Parliament in the public eyes, as well as the operations of its duties. It has always been a precedent of our republic and past parliaments to never bring the presiding officer into the realm of political attacks or aspersions, based on the foundation of protecting the dignity of our parliamentary institutions. Erskine May's parliamentary practice on page 138 speaks to constructive contempt, as it states, and I quote, "Indignities offered to the House by words spoken or writings published reflecting on its character or proceedings have been published by both the Lords and the Commons upon the principle and that such act of abuse tend to obstruct the Houses in the performance of their functions by diminishing the respect due to them." End quote. So, honorable members, in deciding whether a prima facie case of contempt has been made out, the chair must carefully consider the facts alleged and all the information placed before her. I have done just that and find that a prima facie case of contempt has indeed been made out. I so rule and refer this matter to the Committee of Privileges for consideration and report. Contempt has indeed been made.
Now, thank you very much, Ms. Ayana. Thank you very much. And by the way, she is the first ever hijab-wearing Deputy Speaker of the House, Member of Parliament for Princestown, MP Ayana Ali, becoming the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. I think this was for the opposition's response as well. But you realize that what goes around Trinidad and Tobago comes right back around to bite the PNM where the sun does not shine, because they were the ones, once more, that kicked Anil Roberts out of the Senate, and that's the president, Christine Kangaroo, kicked Anil Roberts out of the House because he brought the Speaker into disrepute outside of the Parliament chambers. Now you might ask, given that this happened in the past, what did the opposition say? Let's take a listen.
As far as I'm concerned, that it's just a distraction for my budget presentation, and I will not be muzzled.
What's the next step after this?
Well, I mean, they have made a ruling, so we would have to wait and see what they are going to do. But as far as I'm concerned, today was the day when the opposition leader presents a response. You know, so, yeah. And that's not going to distract from the fact that the population will have still, I mean, it's carried live. So if that's the intention, as I said, I will not be muzzled.
Who muzzling you? You know, I had a song in mind. Who muzzling you? Who muzzling you? Already? Who muzzling you? Who muzzling you? There's nobody muzzling the opposition. Nobody cutting down on the opposition time to talk like they did during COVID-19. Nobody kicking out members like they did during their reign. Look, Kareem Marcel was able to stand on his legs and overthrow the speaker and say, who you talking to? Who you talking to? And he was never kicked out. Never kicked out. Had that been UNC though, in opposition, kick out a parliament one time, Trinidad and Tobago. Kicked out. But anyway, I wanna, before we wrap up tonight, because there's a lot to talk about. A lot happened this week, boy. Oh my gosh, a lot happened this week. But it is Barry Padarat, not Barry, sorry, it is Saddam Hussein that gave us the truth when it comes to Rhoda Barrett, Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to get to that. You want to hear what's going on with Rhoda Barrett and how much money Rhoda Barrett was paid by the state to talk? Imagine, PNM come to say, I am a UNC, what did they say? What did they say, boy? First, it's irrelevant and nonsensical. They say that against Moon Reese. A Canal Conks, Welch, why? UNC sycophant, like Bottom African. Welch, why? So much PNM say, so much people on, look somebody on the chat right here because I read it, say the host illiterate, but you listening. You're watching, you have time to type it. But Rhoda Barrett spread the most amount of hate, racism, vindictive. She was even against some of her own MPs and own members on social media. And the thing is, she get paid. She get paid. I ain't getting paid. She get paid to do that. UNC, something wrong. Knock on wood, something wrong. Take a listen.
Mr. Speaker, I want to get to some other matters that I think are very important to this debate. Mr. Speaker, in local parlance, it has something called hotbacks.
What?
Hotbacks.
Spell that. Hotbacks?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
That sounds very seductive.
And Mr. Speaker, I have in my possession certain records and documents with respect to some bacchanal.
Oh, bacchanal.
Bacchanal, yeah. Hotbacks mean bacchanal, right? Hot bacchanal.
From
emanating from the Ministry of Finance. Not under the member for Faizabad, under the member for Diego Martin Northeast, under his watch, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have been able to access, analyze some hotbacks in relation to the contractual employment and engagement of one Ms. Rhoda Barrett.
Take your time.
Trading as Type 1 Media and Research Solutions with respect to successive awards, payment discrepancies, and procurement practices that was taking place at the Ministry of Finance. And Mr. Speaker, I want to give you the source. The news source. Mr. Speaker, I am told that there were contracts emanating from the Ministry of Finance for the period 1st December 2017 to the 1st of May 2025 as a communications consultant. And during this period, Ms. Barrett was paid $3,027,735 from the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Speaker, Ms. Rhoda Barrett, Mr. Speaker, collected $3,027,735 from the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this individual runs a social media page called News Source, Mr. Speaker. Public funds were being used by that woman, Mr. Speaker, to denigrate persons, Mr. Speaker, use racist remarks, Mr. Speaker, and ensure, Mr. Speaker, today we are going to expose what was taking place. And Mr. Speaker, I am not afraid of any of them, Mr. Speaker. I am not afraid. Because all of us on this side, Mr. Speaker.
All right. So that was her. That was it at least. Rhoda Barrett, $3.3 million for what? Let me see what else here. 3.3 million Trinidad and Tobago, $3.3 million. But what for? You tell me. I wish that is how we wrapped up tonight. I wish. I really do wish that is how we wrapped up tonight. You all think we had enough hypocrisy for the night? She said no. What you say? Kinda. So she hit them one more. Hit them one more? Say hit all there one more Trinidad and Tobago. Just one more for the night. The PNM is the most hypocritical political party this country ever see. Because they come with a restructuring plan for WASA. $100,000 for the CEO per month. But where was WASA? Where is WASA? How it going? Tell me. How it going Trinidad and Tobago? How much of y'all got water under the People's National Movement? How much? Because I heard it's places like Separia that moved from 7 times with no water for the week. So they had to wait 7 days. That's a whole week just to get water. And then they will go for another 7 days. So now they're getting water in the pipe 3 days for the week. And it's set to increase a little bit more. But it is Colum Imbert that asking today about the government plan for WASA and how water coming along. Really? Take a listen.
PNM officials are taking issue with what they describe as government's repeated attempts to deflect accountability in Parliament, accusing senior ministers of assigning junior colleagues to answer difficult questions on their behalf. This afternoon at Balize House, Diego Martin Northeast MP and former Finance Minister Colum Imbert criticized the government, saying none of its key ministers used yesterday's debate to respond to questions raised by the opposition. Imbert, alongside PNM Chairman Marvin Gonzalez, said they expected the ministers led by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar to directly address the opposition's concerns.
We have water supply problems. I'm an MP. I have severe water supply problems in my constituency. It's in one of the newspapers today. We want to hear what the Minister of Public Utilities is doing about that, about water shortages and so on. They said nothing.
I want to take a page out of my good friend Dr. Esther Cruikshank's book. Sit down. shut up and learn. Because I think that is what really does fit this moment. I want to ask and tell Colin Imbert and the entire opposition to sit down, shut up, and learn. Learn from what the government doing so therefore you all could come back in about 50 years from now. No, how long it will take me to dead? Too long. So in 100 years from now, and then all they could run Trinidad. Right? Because right now, the only thing you all should be doing is sitting down, shutting up, and learning from the current administration, Kamala Prasad Bissessa. Because right now, you will hear from all here. And they want to talk water. Not at all. The party that say, through Wassa, all water is we water, but all they disown Ricin Road River. All they disown Ricin River, Port of Spain. When they flood, all they disown it. All they disown Ricin River. Yeah, they disown Ricin River. I want to get something for you before we wrap up tonight. Listen to how they disown Ricin River. Eh? People have to sing a song.
Ricin River is water for soul. You can't drive through it. You need a boat. Ricin River is water for soul. You can't drive through it. You need a boat. Every time I see rain falling in Port of Spain, it's time to go. I need to go. And every time I see rain falling in Port of Spain, I need to go. I need to go.
Them disown Ricin River down there Port of Spain that always flooding out. But want to blame it now on the United National Congress. If illiterate was a party to the comments here, it would be the PNM. Alive? So great is the PNM as we wrap up tonight. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM, as they keep saying, and they shall never prevail. Have a good night.